Christmas 2020. I've got a story here to tell. I call it an encounter story, my Christmas miracle story. And trust me, if you were with me then, you'd know why I call it a miracle. And this happened a long time ago. Not as long ago as it's going to be, though, is it? No, I was in my mid-20s. I'll get to that as soon as I get this set up. And I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to crack a beer. It's been a really long kind of day. Down day in ways. It's Christmas Eve, and actually I'm having a very good day in some ways. This beer, Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale. They make it once a year for Christmas. And I might do a beer review on it. I don't know. It's a different batch every year. And it's like a 20-year tradition with me to drink this on Christmas Eve. So it's Christmas Eve. And it's almost 9:30 where I'm at in central New York. Always make sure there's nothing in there. All right, my Christmas miracle. Coming up. I gotta tell you, Christmas can be a really hard time for a lot of people. I just want to get this off my chest because I have a feeling that some of you who watch these are in the same predicament that I'm in. I mean, my sink, good Lord. I don't know if you can hear that or not. I got some plumbing issues. I mean, Christmas, it's all about the initiation of God's new covenant, the birth of Jesus Christ, which was the initiation of the new covenant for us. And I think it's all right to celebrate it any way you see fit, personally. But, if you're going through a hard time in life, and so many people are, where you don't have your family around you, or somebody you know or love is gone, maybe they walked out on you, maybe they're dead, but they're gone. And there's a lot of heartache. And it just makes you feel like you've got a great big hole in your life. And there's truth to it. That's the hole that, God can fill that vacuum. And I'm going through that this year. My mom is in a nursing home and I can't see her because of COVID-19. And some other circumstances beyond my control. Lo and behold, I'm all alone with my dog, who ate very well tonight, by the way. But it can be a heartbreaking time. But I've drawn closer to God through it, definitely. Pray, talk to God, and struggle, and I know a lot of you are. And lean on the Lord, my washer, I hope. All right, let me get on to the story. Christmas is a very peculiar time of year, isn't it? All right, story number 50. My Christmas miracle. Took place back, a long time ago. I don't want to say. But I had a full head of hair then. Almost. And I was going bald then, too. Well, I was just finished up my first enlistment, 4-year enlistment at Fort Bragg. And my wife left early, took our children with her, and she moved home to where home was Chameau Bay in upstate New York, right on the Lake Ontario, up north, up by Thousand Islands region. And a small town, Chameau, nice little town. So she was up there with living at her parents, had our children with her. 4 kids, the youngest was 9 months, and the oldest would be about 5 years old. And I was about 25. I was 25 at this time. And I got out of the Army, and I thought I'd make a go of it. I wound up going back into the Army and finishing up my 20. But after this 4 years, I got out, and I never really wanted to make the Army a career, honestly. But I got home, found a reality that I couldn't really make any good money. And I had bills to pay and a family, and so I went back in the Army. But at this point in time in the story, I was out of the Army, and I was living at my parents' place, and they had a nice house in central New York in a town called King Ferry. That's right up next to Cuga Lake. That doesn't mean anything to most of you. It's a nice area. It's a beautiful area. Vineyards, lake country. And, but all snow this time of year. It was Christmas Eve. What was it? 1985, all right? 1985, Christmas Eve. It might have been 86. I'm not sure which. 85 or 86. A long time ago. Well, I had gifts for my children, and I loaded them all in the trunk of my car. I'll try to enunciate better. And I was driving a 1981 Ford LTD, and there's a picture of that car, and mine was blue as well, and I found this off the internet, all these pictures. That's the car I was driving at the time. Nothing fancy. Loaded it up with all the gifts for my children. And it seems like it was a Friday night. I'm not sure. I guess it doesn't matter. But I took off north. And my route, I'll switch to another picture at this point. It'll show the route in red, where I had to drive from where I lived all the way up north, up by the lake, Lake Ontario's southern shore. And then I followed that southern shore pretty much all the way up north to Chameau Bay, that area. And it'd be about 125 miles, thereabouts. And it wasn't snowy when I left. All right, picture off. It wasn't snowy when I left. The weather was all right. It was wintertime. It's when I got up around the lake on this, and I'm going to put the picture back on again. Shows my route. Click. I'm sorry. When I got up by the lake, we got what we call lake effect snow, and some of you may not be familiar with what that is. And at this point, I want to talk about a few things about lake effect snow. That's the setting of this story, this Christmas miracle. Lake effect snow is with the Great Lakes, and it's basically when the wind's blowing, northeast, east, northeast, headed east, or actually, just east. The wind's blowing across the Great Lakes, from west to east. And the wind picks up moisture from the lakes and dumps it on the eastern shore. And here's some pictures of that while I'm talking, if I didn't already have them up. And it can be quite a lot of snow. And the rest of the state may have no snow. It may be clear night out. But if you're on that eastern shore and the wind's just right, you're going to get buried. And here's a graphic of the snowiest places in all of America. And I want you to take a note here that New York State, where I live, has a special cutout because the 10 snowiest places in America, five of them are in upstate New York. And of the 5 that you see here in upstate New York, Syracuse, which is the area I live in, is the snowiest. So my little region in upstate New York is the snowiest place in America. And particularly if you're on the lake shore above Syracuse, you can get really buried. All right, in snow. Okay, back to the story. I wanted to explain those things to you. So I got up by the lake. I got through the town of Oswego. I'm heading north on Route 3, the Seaway Trail, they'll call it, the scenic Seaway Trail. And I encountered snow, suddenly. And it got bad. And how bad? Good Lord, how do I explain this? Where do I start? I've driven in snow my entire adult life. Nothing compared to this snowstorm. And I had about, at this point, 75 miles to drive in it, in an old car. And here's a couple of pictures, the best I could find on the internet, of Google search images, of driving through a snowstorm at night. Okay, here's the pictures. Now, I want to say something about these. Most of you know if you've driven in snow. This is like a picture of somebody with their high beam on in a significant amount of snow. But really, you switch your high beam off and it doesn't look so bad. So as snowy as these pictures look, it doesn't even compare to what I was driving through. Trust me, not even close. Pictures off. I mean, I got to the point where I was pushing snow with the front bumper of my car. Pushing snow on the road with the front bumper of my car. Thank God there wasn't a lot of hills on this way. It's pretty flat. And it snowed, and it got to the point that my defrost on my windshield wasn't keeping up with things. And my windshield became nothing but a sheet of ice with snow packed into it. Absolutely couldn't see a thing out of it, except I chiseled out this little porthole about this big right in front of my face with a steering wheel, I'm going to get my winter hat on. I just got this hat. I think it's funny. All right, let's put it. The wind's blowing. I got this little porthole chiseled out. Every now and then I'd have to pull my car over, get out and scrape off, and I managed to keep a porthole like this. The rest was just ice and snow. You couldn't see a thing out of it. All right, now out of that little porthole, I want to tell you that at least half the time I was driving, I couldn't see the road. I couldn't even see the front of my car sometimes. I couldn't see the road. I had no idea where I was. It was complete 100% whiteout. I mean, I'd have to stop the car quite a bit. I was only going about 25 miles an hour at this point. And I'd have to stop the car and, bundle up and get out there in the snow. And I was pushing still with the front bumper of my car on the road, like I said, and just look around to see where the road is. And miraculously, my car was still facing the way it's supposed to go. And I want to tell you, you better believe I was praying and praying and praying. I don't remember my words. I need to enunciate better. Sorry, my son tells me this. I know the type of prayers that I prayed back then because I was a paratrooper in the Army just before this happened. And I know my prayers were always, God's will be done. God, show me the way and camp your angels around me, protect me, guide me. I was really putting my faith in God to somehow get me through this. I want to tell you, I wasn't frightened for myself. I was 25 years old. I just got out of 4 years in the paratroopers, the 504th Parachute Infantry Regiment. And back then we had the distinction of being America's Guard of Honor in the Arctic. So every year we parachuted into either the Yukon or the subarctic triangle or Alaska, or both sometimes is the case. And we did winter training way up north in the subarctic triangle or the Yukon in winter, survival training. So I wasn't afraid for my life, and I wasn't driving fast enough that even if I hit something, it wasn't going to be much. I'd be stuck, that's it, into my trip till the next day. I'd have to camp out in my car or something. No, I was just afraid that I was going to get stuck there and be stranded overnight. And I wanted to get to my children and bring them their gifts badly. Earlier that night, I had somebody, I won't even go into that. That's off in a different direction. That's my washer. I remember the snow was so bad that I encountered stranded on Route 3 in this snowstorm, one of these large, really gigantic highway snowplows with two guys in it, They were stuck. They weren't going any further. And they're in the middle of my way in the lane. I just got right up on them and noticed, they had their lights on and stuff, but they weren't going anywhere. So I got out of my Ford LTD and trundled up, knocked on their window. The guy rolls down the window and he's shocked to see me. I'm like, "Are you guys all right?" And like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Hang in there." You know, you need any help? No, we're all right. I get back in my car and I went around the snowplow, plowing snow with my car, and continued on my way. It got even worse. And I want to tell you something that plays into this. For me, it plays into it. There was a song that had come out around this time by the Pretenders, a group I liked a lot. And it's called 2,000 Miles. And it's all about a father trying to get to his children through a snowstorm. And that song was playing a lot that night. And you better believe that became my theme song for this whole event. And if you scroll, after this video, you scroll below on my, I don't know, what is it? Information, you know, below the title of this, I'm going to put a link to that song on YouTube. Click on that link and you'll catch the song. But every time I hear that song, 2,000 Miles by the Pretenders, it takes me back to this night. And seemed like every third song was that song. So I continued on. I left the men in the snowplow behind me. They'd be all right. Now and then I'd pass a car, and it was just the shape of a car buried in snow. I checked once. Nobody was in it. I didn't check again. I passed a few more cars. There was just a mound of snow off to the side. And I didn't really think that anybody was in danger, really. This area is remote, but you know, you can't really walk a mile down this road. You're going to come to a farmhouse. So it wasn't like I was on a rescue mission. So I continued on, and I got to a point in the blizzard. It got so bad, I had to stop. And actually, I guess, honestly, I got to take it back. I guess I was a little concerned for myself, because I stopped where I saw the lights of a house, and I trundled up through the snow, which is, at this point, past about knee deep, probably, and knocked on their door, and there was a man and woman. They came to the door. I think it was about 10 o'clock p.m. this time, 2,200 hours for some of you. And they said, "Hello, may I help you?" I said, "Yeah, there's a lot of snow, you know, and I can't seem to get anywhere in my car." And I thought I really was hoping they would put me up for the night, but they didn't. They weren't rude to me or anything, but they just really were at loss what to say or do for me. And I kind of read that without them telling me that. And I said, "Well, good night, and I guess I'll continue on." And they wished me luck. Got back in my car. You better believe I was praying to God for help, for his angels to guide me, because I couldn't see the road. So I continued on, somehow, and it is a miracle. I got a porthole in my windshield, this big. The rest is just ice and snow. I can't even see the front of my car half the time, pushing snow with my bumper. Somehow I stayed on the road. I have no idea. It had to have been a miracle. God had to have been guiding me. And then I came upon an old car. It was an old station wagon, as I recall. And they were right in front of me. You know, they were stopped. And I got out and knocked on the window, and it was an old man and woman. Somebody here? Guess not. Weird. I knocked on the window, you know, driver's side, and the guy rolls the window down. It's an old man about my age now, and a woman, it's about the same age. And they look up at me, and I'm like, I forgot what I said, but they were stuck. They couldn't go any further. I said, "Well, follow me. Follow my tail lights, and I'll turn my flashers on. Get right behind me." And I went around them and stopped, and then started off slowly, and now it's two of us. God, I get choked up. I remember that night. Let me pull it together. All right. So now I'm leading this old man and woman. They're following my car, and we kept. I don't know how we did it. We just continued on, like I was saying, it, like some kind of miracle that I could keep going. It's been a rough day. Sorry. Well, we got to Watertown, around midnight, as I recall. It took us 2 hours. And this thing with Snowbelt is that it's almost like a curtain. It just stops. And I remember we got to Watertown, and this blizzard, like you could have walked maybe a half a mile and you were in a blizzard, and a half mile later, there's nothing. That's how these things work. Clear roads, clear sky. And we made it because north of Watertown is Chameau Bay, about 15 miles on the lake. And I never got to say goodbye to them or anything. I think I hit the horn or something, and they went their way into Watertown, and I went up to my kids. I got there at midnight, and Dad arrived with all kinds of gifts that he had packed in the trunk of his car. And we had a good Christmas. And I told people about this, that it was a miracle I got through this. And I don't think anybody, that's pretty cool. But, everybody's driven through a snowstorm around here. I don't think they realize what I went through that night. To this day, I have no idea how I did it. They may as well have blindfolded me. I'm serious. They may as well have just blindfolded me, and I'm driving on a prayer. And I'm not exaggerating. For a good part of that cruise, I might as well have been blindfolded. And I was just driving on prayers. So the next day was clear, and the roads were plowed, and I drove home Christmas Day back to my parents. And I'm going to tell you, I got an idea how severe this storm was, the snow effect. In places, the snow drifts were almost up to the top of the telephone poles. Not quite, almost, in places. I've never seen so much snow. And I'm sorry I got a little emotional, just in one of those days. Anyways. Whatever you're going through, hopefully you're gathered around your loved ones, or, you're settled in, you're doing well, and, you've got some family with you. But if you're all alone in life, these are the times God calls us to have quality time with Him. And it's just hard to see other people suffer. It really is. It's just been one of those years, 2020. I think everybody's got some hardships going on besides the virus. It's been a special kind of year, hasn't it? Well, that's my story, the Christmas miracle. I think you would have had to have been sitting in that car with me to realize what I'm saying is no exaggeration. I may as well have been blindfolded driving that car. And I led that old man and that old woman out. And I saw it was a godsend to them as well. And it was pretty cool, honestly. Remember it all these years. So that's it for the story. And Merry Christmas to you all. I'm going to try to cheer up and play some Christmas music. Maybe I'll post some, maybe I won't. So check the link below. The title of this, I'm going to put a link to the song that was playing almost the whole way there. And what a fitting song for this event it was. 2,000 Miles by the Pretenders. All right, Merry Christmas and good night. God bless you. And I'm sure he has. And will.